friends, hope everyone is doing great. I'm here to talk about an amazing book, number 2 in the Mackenzie Brothers series by Jennifer Ashley, and this one is called Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage. In my previous video, I talked about the first book in the series called The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. Now, in the second book, we are following another Mackenzie brother. We are following Mac. He is the third brother. He's just 3 years older than Ian. So Mac is 30 at the time when his book takes place. And it's interesting. His name is actually Roland Ferdinand Mackenzie. But when he was little, he could not pronounce his name. And he called himself Mac. And it kind of just stuck. So everyone knows him as Mac Mackenzie. He is quite an interesting character, has a very charismatic personality. I really like him. Honestly, among the Mackenzie brothers, I'm kind of torn between him and Cameron. Cameron is the second brother. The next book is about Cameron. I have not read that one yet at the time of making of this video. If you have read all Mackenzie books, please let me know which brother is your favorite. Let's discuss. Now, we get to know Mac a little bit in Ian's book, in the first book of the series, and we also get to meet Isabella, Mac's wife. And what we learn is that they have been married for 6 years, but they have been separated for the past 3 years. And in Ian and Beth's book, we know that Mac and Isabella basically avoid each other. And for example, there was an instant when Mac checked into a hotel where Isabella was staying, and she changed the hotels like the same day. She did not want to be in the same building as him. We also know from Ian's book that when Isabella ran into Mac in a ball, she ended up crying in her bedchamber the night after that because, well, she still loves Mac. And as we learn, Mac also loves her. So what's going on there? Why are those two people who love each other? Why have they been separated for 3 years? Let's talk about that. Keep in mind that my videos will always have spoilers. I'm just here talking about the books I enjoy. I'm talking to you, my friends. I would love to meet like-minded people who also love historical romance, so let's discuss. If you haven't read the book yet, you might not want to watch this, or maybe this will help you get interested in this book. Trust me, this series is amazing. Now, let's talk more about Mac and Isabella. Mac is a painter, and he's actually quite talented at painting. However, throughout the book, that's also a little bit of his internal conflict, because at some point he does not believe himself to be talented. When their separation happens, let me word it like this, when their separation happens, he finds himself unable to paint as well as he used to. And then his talent kind of comes back to him in this book. Now, let's talk more about Mac and Isabella and their marriage. First of all, the story, how they happen, is just so beautiful. They met at Isabella's debut ball. She was 18, and it was her first season, and it was her very first ball, which was hosted at her parents' house. Mac was not invited because, well, the Mackenzie brothers were known for their scandalous behavior, and they're not someone who parents would want for their young daughter, so Mac was not invited. But his friends had a wager with him. He had to break into the ball and kiss Isabella. That was the wager. So he came into the ball uninvited, and he saw Isabella, and he fell in love. And he did kiss her. And not only that, they actually ended up getting married that very night. So on Isabella's first ball, she met the man, she fell in love, and she got married. After that, after that, Isabella's father disowned her, so she actually hasn't seen her family for 6 years, six and a half years since her marriage. But she had Mac. She was part of Mac's family now, and they were together for 3 years before their separation. However, the book offers us a lot of flashbacks, and we learn that those 3 years, it was a big emotional roller coaster. They were extremely happy together. They loved each other. There was a lot of love and passion in that relationship. But then there was also a lot of fighting and arguing, and it would get too much, and Mac would just think that Isabella could use some space, and he would leave. He would leave to the continent. He would go to France, to Italy, to Switzerland, and just stay there for a bit. She would never know how long he's there for. And then he would come back, and then they would be happy again for a time, and then arguing would start again, and he would leave again. Those were the 3 years of their marriage. Now, they loved each other a lot. They didn't know how to deal with those issues they were having. However, the turning point for Isabella was when she had a miscarriage, and Mac actually was on the continent when that happened. And another thing that was a problem in their relationship is Mac's drinking issue. He had a problem with alcohol, and often he would just be a bit drunk when he was with her. And when he came back from the continent after she had her miscarriage, he was also drunk. And to Isabella, it felt like he wasn't there to comfort her. She came back so that she could comfort him. And that was the breaking point. And after that, Isabella made a decision to leave Mac. She left him a letter where she wrote, "I love you. I will always love you, Mac, but I cannot be with you any longer. I'm leaving." So instead of going through a legal divorce, which would be possible, so the book takes place in Victorian era, 1880s, but it would, if they went through a legal divorce, it would cause a lot of issues for Isabella, because women in that time still, it wouldn't be advantageous for her to go through a legal divorce. Instead, they went through legal separation. She still had access to all of Mac's money, and he was happy to still keep providing for her, caring for her financially. That wasn't an issue. But they started living separately. Now, as this book, the Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage, begins, we know that at this point, Mac wants Isabella back, and he also knows that he has to be patient because they had a lot of issues. He has hurt her in the past, and she's not just going to take him back. So throughout the book, we really get to see this couple who love each other, but being together isn't easy for them. And this is one of the things I so loved about this book. It's not that kind of relationship that's just all rainbows and unicorns, how some historical romance are like that. This book is quite realistic because it tells a story of two people who love each other, but despite that, they have problems. And they have to work through those problems. They have to learn to be together despite those problems. I thought that was a beautiful story. Now, this book has a lot of steamy moments because even though Mac and Isabella are separated, there is a lot of chemistry, there is a lot of passion, there's a lot of love. And one thing I really enjoyed about this book, and Mac in specific, is that neither of them looked for anyone else while they were separated. So essentially, they were both celibate during their separation. So when they finally got intimate again, there was basically fireworks. There was so much chemistry. Honestly, it was really, really good to read that kind of passion. And throughout the book, we can see a lot of Mac's desire for Isabella. It was quite beautiful to see. Now, aside from them making their way back together, trying to see if they can be in a in a legal marriage again, living together as husband and wife. There is another plot to the story. It's another mystery, and this time we have a man who's pretending to be Mac. Now remember, Mac is a painter. This man is also a painter, and he sells his work under Mac's name. And when Mac finds out and he sees the paintings, he's actually impressed, and he thinks it's hilarious because he finds those paintings better than his own work, and he's like, wow, this man is better than I am, and he's pretending to be me. That's just hilarious. Well, he can go at it. So at first he's not even worried, but then it gets more serious because we learn that that other man is basically crazy. He thinks he is Mac, and he wants Isabella. He thinks he's the real Mac, and the real Mac is someone who's pretending to be Mac. Now, I don't want to spoil this part of the book because this is something that you would need to read for yourself. There is an interesting outcome of events, a little bit sad if I'm honest, but of course there is a happy ending for Mac and Isabella. They make their way together and they're happy, everything is good. But I really enjoyed how Jennifer Ashley told us a story of two people who love each other and are trying to make their way back together despite the difficulties they were having in their relationship. And I really enjoyed that mystery plot about someone pretending to be Mac. That was really interesting to see. And I also enjoyed getting that little sneak peek into Ian and Beth's relationship, because they, at some point, we also get to see them again in this book and see how their relationship is going. And at this point they are married, they're expecting a baby. We get to see Ian a bit in Mac's book as well. And as you know from my previous video, Ian has autism, so it's quite interesting to see how he's interacting with others and how he's preparing to be a father. Now, have you read this book? Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage is a really interesting read, and I actually liked it more than I did Ian's story. Now, the third book in the series is going to be about Cameron. He is the second oldest brother, and I'm excited to get to know Cameron a little bit more, because what I know about him is that he's a very funny guy. He's got a good sense of humor, and as I mentioned before, if I had to choose between the four Mackenzie brothers, I'm torn between Cameron and Mac, but wait until my video about Cameron's book, then I'll tell you which one I choose, because then I'll get to know Cam better and I will see. I'm definitely intrigued. Oh, I have to mention another thing I loved about this book. If you are into Scottish men, this book is going to be a treat, because it has a pretty detailed, pretty vivid description of a Scottish man wearing nothing but a kilt. Well, the Scottish man was Mac in this case, and I'll be honest, it was quite attractive to read that. Definitely, if you have a vivid imagination, you're in for a treat with this book. So there it is. There is my opinion about the book. There's my impression. I absolutely loved it. Gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. Looking forward to the next book in the series, and looking forward to just getting to know the Mackenzie family a bit more. Please let me know what you thought about this book. Make sure to read it. Make sure to read Ian's story first. Watch my video about Ian. Please subscribe so we can talk more about historical romance, and please give this video a like. Thank you so much. If there is a particular book you would like me to review, let me know in the comments, and enjoy the rest of your day.